In the series of History of English Literature, previously, we have learned about the Anglo-Saxon period, which was from 500 AD to 1066 AD. In this video, we are going to talk about the early Middle English period before Chaucer, also known as the Anglo Norman Period. Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to my channel, and I am Mehreen. Anglo-Saxons were the world of warriors and battles. This world changed radically and gradually. Norman were people from a province called Normandy, from France. They were Northmen of France. They crossed the English Channel, attacked England, and won Battle of Hastings under the leadership of William the Conqueror, who later became the King of England in 1066 AD. That is why this specific period is called Anglo Norman Period. Anglo stands for English, while Norman stands for French. Anglo Norman. It was the time period when France was ruling over England. We may categorize this period as pre-Chaucerian era. Let's get familiar with the culture and traditions of the time period, and later we will of course talk about the literature which was produced during this period. As I have told you earlier, that France had conquered England. That's why this was a natural result of French conquest, that it had a great influence on the language of the upper class people. Rich and high gentry of the society started to speak English. French became the language of high society, while common people stuck to Old English. French words and writing styles were borrowed. That is why the most of the literature produced was also a kind of artificial and bookish, because it lacked native language. Let's have a look into the society and religion of that time. Before the Norman conquest, there were tribes ruling over the whole England, as we have discussed it in Anglo-Saxon period. There were Anglos, Saxons, and Jutes, the main tribes which were ruling over the England. Their beliefs, religion, traditions, culture, and language were all different from each other, and they were all from different mythologies. Their beliefs were a kind of shared pool of thoughts, but after the Norman conquest, England changed into a centralized state. Nationalism was promoted because now the England was not the England of Saxons, Anglos, or Jutes. It was the England of now, which had its own identity. This idea of nationalism gave birth to loyalty. And of course, in this regard, French people lent a great hand. French people promoted the idea of nationalism and knighthood. Now, who were the knights? This idea of knighthood gave birth to spirit of loyalty, adventure, idealism running through the imagination of people, and in literature the idea expanded. If we talk about the literature which was produced in that period, in this context, many historians and many critics, many people refer it to the Dark Ages due to three main reasons. Firstly, people of that age were illiterate. There was unavailability of printing press. Another reason was literature was really expensive. To read literature was just like was a kind of luxury of upper class. Due to illiteracy, many superstitions came into existence. Mainly three kind of literature was produced in that period. First one was romance, second one was history, and the third one was religion. This period is also called Middle English period, but remember, it's not because of the Middle Ages. Rather, it's because Middle English formed between the evolution of Old English into modern English. Another reason for not producing good or quality kind of literature was there was a lack of scientific progress. England was under the possession of church. Therefore, there was no any kind of remarkable progress in literature, knowledge, science, or any other field, as we all know that under the strong influence of church's convictions and beliefs, it was impossible to thrive or flourish. We may also call it dark ages in a sense because we don't have much historical fact finding of that period in written form. Now, let's come back to the themes of literature produced in that period. One thing must be kept in mind that literature produced in that period had absorbed a great influence of French due to Norman conquest. Main domain of literature was surrounded in religion, romance and history as I have told you earlier. Traces of beginning of drama can also be detected in this period. The earliest form of drama formed during this period, miracle plays, mystery plays, and morality plays were performed in church. I will definitely make a separate video on the formation of drama in detail. Saints, lives of saints, stories of Bible and life of Christ. These were the main religiously rooted themes of the drama. So this was the age of evolution where new form of literature and language had started to come out of the darkness, which later on mastered on the hands of Chaucer. I will look forward to another class of this series of history of English literature, specifically covering age of Chaucer and his contemporaries. Most of the literature under the French influence produced was of romance. This word romance came from Old French word romance, which means a long poem narrating story, maybe story of some knighthood, adventure, war, but it is nothing to do with love. Literature produced carrying the theme of history had the ingredients of heroism and chivalric knighthood. Stories of Alexander the Great, Battle of Troy, legends of King Arthur and 12 Knights, quest for the Holy Grail. These were the long narrative poems which were produced in that particular period. I hope till the end of this session you may have learnt a lot from this session. In the series of history of English literature, in the next session we will definitely discuss the age of Chaucer and his contemporaries. Till then, keep supporting my channel. Have a great time and thanks for being with Marine.